Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. It is the Fun Squad on the Zooms today. Jeremy Sanders is joining me. He is the marketing manager at Frederick County Parks and Rec. Lots going on. Jeremy, we were talking a little bit before we started recording that winter doesn't even slow you guys down at Parks and Rec. Most of us think, oh, they must take winters off, but you guys just add more things to the schedule.
Yep, it just keeps on going. We just stack event after event, so we never really get a slowdown time. It's always planning for the next big thing.
So we were talking too about the winter guide, which is now available on your website at fcprd.net, and it's got a ton of stuff in it.
It does. We've got everything from races that are upcoming to trips, a lot of cool activities, sports, things for seniors. You name it, you want to get out of the house and do something fun, get some fresh air, just get into a sport activity, grab a copy of the guide online, and pretty soon it'll be printed. So if you haven't put your name on the mailing list to get a copy in your mailbox, go to fcprd.net and find the little sign-in box there, and we'll get them mailed out in the next couple weeks.
I think sometimes we forget as residents of the area that there are indoor things to do that Parks and Rec offers in the colder months. And we think, oh, it's cold outside and maybe it's calling for snow, so there's nothing to do. But you guys have a lot of things indoors that you offer.
We do. We have a ton of activities, a lot of different types of crafting. You name it, there's somebody here in the office that has an interest that's probably the same interest as you might have. And we set up little days like that where you can go do a certain, like a makerspace type thing, lots of sporting activities. There's never a dull moment with Parks and Rec.
You guys have things obviously that come back year after year after year. How do you decide something new is going to get added?
A lot of the times it's something that one of the programmers might have an interest in. Like I can take an example. I went to a conference last week and I learned about letterboxing, which is kind of similar to geocaching, where you'll go online, you'll find like a clue to a location with, say we set up something at Clearbrook Park, and I would give a little clue about where this letterbox is hitting. And what a letterbox is, it contains usually a stamp pad and a stamp. And if you're into letterboxing, you make your own stamp. So basically you carve away at the little rubber canvas type deal and create your own stamp. And then when you find the letterbox, you stamp your own little passport book with that stamp. You can make a note like found on December 1st at Clearbrook Park. And then you take your stamp and you stamp it in their book, and you can put like a little note beside it. So it's similar to geocaching, but I've always been into arts and crafts and doing that kind of printing. So when I saw that seminar, I thought it was very interesting. So probably for next spring or next summer, that's going to be an activity that I might lead here in Parks and Rec. So that's how a lot of them start. It's just you find somebody in our organization that has an interest that would love to pass that interest on to other people. And when there's a passion like that, it makes the programs work.
I bet those conferences are fun when you get a bunch of Parks and Rec people together in one room talking about cool, fun things.
Yeah, and then we got to do a little field trip and do letterboxing. So I learned about it firsthand and was like, oh yeah, this is something we could definitely do, and it's fun.
And you're always open to suggestions too from our community. If somebody here, say they lived somewhere else and their park used to do something, they can reach out to you, or it's a parent who found a really cool activity online that they'd like to be able to do with their child. You're open to suggestions as well.
Oh, definitely. Yes, definitely. We love to hear new ideas.
Does it get complicated trying to then make them all fit into that winter guide? I guess online you're a little lucky because you're not limited by the number of pages, but the online guide does have to match the printed guide.
Yeah, we have to do a lot of shuffling for the printed guide, so we make it work.
And there are still sports that happen during the winter as well.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. We've got basketball leagues going, a bunch of different ones. A full list on there. A lot are indoor, but I know our sports guys are continually looking for referees and stuff. So always keep an eye on high school age kids. There's always jobs for referees, scorekeepers, that type of thing within Parks and Rec. We have a job section on the website, plus there's a small one inside the guide as well. So that's another great resource for kids to be getting out and getting a real job.
It also helps to get them in the door at Parks and Rec, because a lot of times they start with those kinds of jobs because they have an interest in the field. And if they've done that and worked with you before, when a full-time gig comes open or a full-on summer job comes open, they kind of already have their foot in the door.
Yeah, we've got a lot of current employees that started that way, either as a lifeguard or a scorekeeper, and just enjoyed their time with the Parks and Rec. And like you said, they've already got the foot in the door, and it's a good, fun job and seasonal. So it works for a lot of people's schedules.
So not really a foot in the door, but still somewhat similar. I want to talk about the Thanksgiving Day 5K. Yeah, that was a terrible segue. I shouldn't have even tried that.
We could run through the door. That's what you could have said.
Yes, we're running through the
We'll
door.
run through
That's
the
what
door.
it is. So you've been doing that for quite a few years now. I had Robin Miller on from Watts last Friday. She has an event. Her Cheesin' for a Reason is on Saturday, but she talked about being the beneficiary for the Thanksgiving 5K. That really brings out a ton of people on Thanksgiving Day.
It does. We sold out last year, that's the first time it's ever happened. We actually had to turn people away because we simply, logistically wise, it was too many people. We hit a limit. We tried to balance a number of volunteers and supplies and t-shirts and medals and all that kind of things. We have a number that if we go over, it's pushing the limit of what we can handle in the park. So we said, here's our limit. We're not going to be able to go above it. And we actually hit that and surpassed it. So this year we've bumped that threshold up. We've prepared for more, but still it could possibly sell out again. We've already have 1,000 participants signed up. And this time last year, we were a little over half that. I think we're at like 600 or 700. So the popularity plus the fact that it sold out last year is pushing more people to sign up early. So if you haven't
So
signed up, go sign up.
there are 1,000 people in our area that want to get up on Thanksgiving Day morning and run a 5K, then go home and stuff their faces full of turkey and dressing.
Yep, our little saying is run, gobble, nap. So that seems to be a Thanksgiving tradition for so many families around here.
So where do they go to sign up? Is it on your website? Give me the details for that.
You can go to runathetop.net, and that has all of our running events. We've got running events throughout the year as well, not just a Thanksgiving race. We've added a couple new races and group runs throughout the year. We've got a new one in April that we just did for the first time this year. We took over an existing race, which was the Valor 5K, and that's out at the airport. So that race had been going on for quite a few years, but they just wanted someone to manage all the registrations, all the course setup, and all the preparation for it. Since we do such a great job with the other races, they're like, it's a perfect fit. We kept basically everything the same, except we've turned it into a Parks and Rec run event. It's still continuing to grow, and it's a good one. We have some fun runs coming up. If you look, there's a holiday fun run. It's like a scavenger hunt type run for Christmas. Starts down on the walking mall. That's a lot of fun. So check out the website for that.
I think we talked about that one last year because I thought it was as close to me being in a run as you would ever get because of the scavenger hunt component.
Yeah, we just had one for Halloween and it was a lot of fun. It brings out a really good crowd. And after you run, you get to go to either a brewery or a restaurant to get your prizes and everything. So you can run, eat, drink, collect your prizes, and have a good time with the rest of the runners.
It's interesting because I think those of us that don't run really don't have any idea what goes into putting something like that together. Like it would not have occurred to me about course setup and registrations and all of those kinds of things because my assumption is people just show up at a starting line, they take off running and they come to a finish line and that's just how it works. But there's a lot involved.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was probably the same way as well when I was first running. I was like, what do you really got to do? I show up and I run and I go home. So that's it. But years ago, I was the race director for the Liberty 5K in Winchester on the 4th of July. And that was always one of the bigger 5Ks. And I organized that for 5 years. And I realized how much went into it, and it was a lot. So then I learned when my sons were coming up through running events that anytime they finish a race, I tell them, find the person that's in charge and say thank you because it means a lot. So that's one tradition that I've passed on that hopefully a lot of people more realize that, hey, a lot of work goes into this. It's appreciated if you go up and say, hey, I appreciate the work you put. So
And the Thanksgiving 5K in particular is great because Watts is your beneficiary. Their season has now opened. Their winter season is open. Their warming centers will open on December 1st. But people are able to meet the volunteers and the people at Watts. They're able to get an education on who they serve and why it's important. And they can bring donations and things to them at the race that day. So it checks a lot of boxes.
yeah, it's definitely a great moment when we're able to get together with them after the race and hand across that big check that says how much we've donated to them. It really makes you appreciate how much work we put into it, how much the community bands around this one race, and then it's all for a good cause. It's definitely something that we're all proud of here.
Is it one of those races where people also show up wearing turkey costumes
It
and
is.
and crazy fun stuff?
Yeah, they'll have the fake turkeys on their head. They'll have tutus that are orange and dressed up like pumpkins. We even had Cousin Eddie dressed up out there with the robe and the hat.
Uh,
You name it,
Now,
we,
is
we
there
can
a
get.
kids component to this, or is this strictly an adult run?
There is a kids race and a tot trot. We added the tot trot last year, so even kids from age toddler to 4 can participate in a little run on the track there before the 5K starts. So you can bring the entire family out to run.
Is it cheaper to register in advance? Well, I guess if you have a limit on how many people can register, if you're full, there is no registration at the door.
Yeah, there won't be any race day registration unless something really strange happens and nobody else signs up from like today on. But yeah, if there are certain dates that are cutoff times for when the prices change, but the prices do jump periodically throughout as we get closer to the race day.
So runathetop.net is where people can go get all the details for the Thanksgiving Day 5K, but for all the other runs and races that you've got throughout the year as well.
Yes, that's there. And the best place to follow also is our Facebook page, not just our Frederick County Parks and Rec Facebook page, but we also have a Run at the Top Facebook page. So do a search for that, and that one has all the events on it. We usually share on both places, but if you're more interested in just seeing the runs and not seeing all of our events at the same time, that's a good one to follow as well.
Let's take a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about trips because I know those are a big thing that you do throughout the winter season. And then, of course, we can't talk about the Thanksgiving Day 5K without talking about Winter Wonderland, which opens after Thanksgiving. So, can we get details on those in the next segment?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to continue our conversation with Jeremy Sanders. He is marketing manager for the Frederick County Parks and Rec. Winter Guide, remember, is out right now online at fcprd.net. The printed versions will be in mailboxes in the next couple of weeks. If you haven't registered for a printed version, you can do that as well on their website. We're going to come back and talk about trips in Winter Wonderland in just a couple of minutes.
Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise, we're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial just like this one that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/The Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of the Valley Today.
Welcome back to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are on the Zooms today with Jeremy Sanders. Jeremy is the marketing manager for Frederick County Parks and Rec. In the first segment, we talked a little bit about the winter guide that's available online now at fcprd.net. Thanksgiving Day 5K sold out last year and is on the way to being sold out this year. So make sure you head over to runathetop.net to get your registration in. And Jeremy, we talked about this too in the first segment, there are so many things that happen even when the temps start to drop. And one of those things are trips. They kind of took a hiatus during the pandemic, but they're back full force now.
Yeah, they're a great opportunity as well because a lot of people don't like to drive, and I'm one of them. If I'm going somewhere, I'd rather have somebody else drive. I hadn't taken a whole lot of trips with the county until last year. I went to the Penn State Maryland game in Penn State, and that was when Penn State was good. This year, they seem to be not so great. So sorry, all Penn State fans out there. But it was nice to be able to ride to that game, even though it was so miserably cold. But having a group of people to hang out with was a lot of fun. So I can attest that the trips are definitely worth doing if you're like me and don't like driving.
And you do them for sporting events like that. You do them, if I seem to recall, and I'm sure you'll give me details for this, there's like a shopping trip to New York City. There are all types of trips that you do.
There are. I've got a list of them here. I can go through them. The one we have coming up, which is on November 8th, there's a trip to West Virginia to see West Virginia play Colorado. So get to see Deion Sanders' team. There is a Fredericksburg Holiday Craft Show that is on December 6th. And like you said, we have a New York City day trip, which is entire day. On the calendar, it spans 2 dates, but I think it's because it comes back so late or leaves so early in the morning. So I don't think you actually spend the night there, but it's on December 10th and 11th. And we have the Polar Express Ice Show that's at the Gaylord National, where they have all the frozen exhibits, the ice carved exhibits. And that is on December 13th. Another one, I think this was kind of like a play or a storytelling of some sort. This is in December. It's on the 20th. It's Every Christmas Story Ever Told. It's at the Washington County Playhouse. So a little artsy trip there. And we have a snow tubing trip where you go to Snow Riders. That's on January 3rd. So pretty good variety of sporting events, things if you're crafty or if you like the arts. So a little bit of interests for everybody.
The thing that I love about a couple of those that you mentioned is one, I likely could not get my husband to go to a craft show. I mean, he'll go to a lot of things with me, but I'm not sure just a craft show is something he'd be interested in doing. And I, very much like you, I'm not driving because
Yeah.
I don't drive on the highway. So that means it would take me twice as long to get there to find back roads and everything else. But that bus trip makes it great. And you're going to be on that bus with all of these other people that had the exact same interest as you because you're all going to the same event. So it really is a fun experience.
Yeah, make some new friends. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, even with the sporting events, if you didn't want to go sit outside in the cold for 3 or 4 hours, you say, hey, why don't you just take that trip? There's some other people that are crazy like you.
Right. Yes. Here, I'll even get your ticket. Let me go
Yeah.
online and get you registered for that. I'll
Yeah.
take care of all of it for you, sweetheart.
Yep. Merry Christmas.
When you get closer to the holidays, Channel 4 News does a ton of features on the ice stuff at Gaylord. And we've always joked about how that would be really cool to go, even though we don't have kids that age anymore. It would be really fun to go. And he always says, yeah, I'm not driving down there in that mess.
Yeah.
This is my perfect excuse to say, guess what? Now what, honey? You don't have to drive in that mess.
Yeah. I did it with my kids quite a few years ago, and I don't remember the drive being a mess or anything, but I do remember it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. You even got to do a little sliding board that was made out of ice. When you get there, they give you these big parkas to wear. So they bundle you up, even if you're already bundled, they give you more because it's got to stay cold in there. It's a whole adventure.
On the fcprd.net website, are all the trips listed with the details and the cost and all that sort of stuff? Is it easy to figure out where you want to go and get signed up for it?
It's easy to find. Either you'll see a changing banner at the top of the page. It sometimes shows the trips. It'll rotate between either our Winter Wonderland or our Thanksgiving race, and it'll go to trips. Or on the left-hand side of the page, there's a list of all the links where it goes from our basic rec program to our events, to our sponsorships, to our trips. So everything's either on the left or on the top as a banner ad. Very easy to find.
Let's talk about Winter Wonderland because it traditionally opens on Black Friday, or is it the Saturday after Thanksgiving?
It's the Friday, the 28th, right after Thanksgiving. So our calendar doesn't stop. We go from one event to the next.
And is there anything new we should expect at Clearbrook Park this year?
It's a 25th year, so there's going to be a lot of celebration of a 25 silver anniversary. There's a cool ornament that you can purchase at Vendor Village. That's where you pick up your tickets and everything. So it's a special year for us to be 25 years into it.
I cannot believe you've been doing that 25 years. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things doing this show that make me feel old, but now I have to add that to the list.
Yeah, my son Connor is 19 this year, and I'm pretty sure we took him there probably every single year for quite a few years. Now, it's one thing, I know that's what a lot of people do is well, I haven't been to Winter Wonderland since my kids were into it, but there's a lot of stuff to do, even if you don't have kids. There's going to be selfie setup spots for photos. We always have Snap and Share comes and does the whole selfie station and the little DJ booth. There's food trucks set up, hot chocolate, and it's just pretty to walk around the lake with the reflections of the lights and everything. So it's not just for parents with their kids anymore. It's a whole activity that the whole family can go do.
And to be clear, if someone is listening and they just moved to the area or they're not familiar with how it works, this is not driving through Clearbrook Park. Clearbrook Park is pretty large, but it wouldn't be large enough for you to be able to drive through and enjoy it. This is you park and you walk through.
Correct. We've got a paved path around Clearbrook Park, which is about half a mile. Basically, you don't have to walk super far. We just do a loop around the lake. The different pavilions are set up with certain types of activities. One day there might be a crafting activity, or there's the lodge that'll have the photo booth. Santa will be set up, so you can go see Santa and tell him what you want for Christmas. Take a nice little walk around the park, take some cool photos, make some memories.
Are you still able to rent the cabin or the lodge if I want to have a work party or even a family get together?
Yeah, both of those, they go pretty fast though, because they get booked up by corporations or businesses or families. A lot of people will say we're going to rent the cabin for the night and they'll have 5 to 10 people in there and it's already decorated for you. There's Christmas trees, tables. It makes a great backdrop for a little, just a nice get together and have space. And then the lodge is a little bit larger and it just makes a nicer space for getting a lot of people together. They even have them where they'll come in shifts for the different companies and just you hang out there for a couple hours. You can walk around, go in, warm up, walk around again, and then call it a night. But it's a lot of fun. And we've got different things. We've got horses set up. You can go for pony rides. I believe that's every Saturday and Sunday except for December 6th. It's $10. You can take a little pony ride around the area in the park. There's a little kids area off to the side of one of them. You can wind through a little maze of lights and stuff, which is really neat. The 14th is makerspace. You make your own, I believe it's a wreath this year. And then the 15th are Basic Rec Christmas Village. They've set up a display there where they set up a little Christmas village and then there's a judging of it the following night.
That's cool.
Yeah, all kinds of
Yeah.
things. There's a jazz band will be performing. Snap and Share will be there several times. The choir will be performing. So all the dates for that will be on fcprd.net. And I think we talked about this last year. You can catch a trolley from down here at the GW and take the trolley ride to Clearbrook Park. So another way to get out of having to drive over there. And sometimes the parking over there can get a little when it gets super busy. So the trolley is a nice way to avoid that. And you can stop and get a hot chocolate at the GW and see all their pretty lights at the same time.
In that particular case, the drive itself isn't a problem, no matter where you live, even if you're in Berryville or even in Strasburg. But sometimes the parking does get a
Yeah.
little hectic. So being able to hop on the trolley and you still get to see all the people that have decorated their houses on Route 11 as you're coming in. It is a beautiful night, and I am all in for a trolley ride. I got to ride the trolley for the very first time a few weeks ago,
Oh,
and
really?
it was so cool.
That's cool. I haven't been on it.
I'm part of the city's Civic Leadership Academy. And so they were taking us around to some of the developments that the city is working on. And so the whole class got to do that on the trolley. So we went out to Crossover Boulevard, we went to Ward Plaza, we went to downtown, and we got to do it all on the trolley. It was like the craziest thing, people looking at us like, why is that out in the middle of the day?
Huh,
And all of these people are on it.
that is pretty cool.
Do I need a ticket for Winter Wonderland or can I just show up that day?
You can show up that day and buy a ticket at the door, but it's recommended that you get it ahead of time because time slots do fill up. And we like to know how many people are going to be there at certain times to make sure it's not overcrowded, partly for the parking, like we talked about, and just to make sure it's a smooth transition for everybody in the park. So your best bet is to save a few bucks, go online, get your ticket there, and then you can just come in and redeem your ticket at the ticket booth and go about your way.
The whole concept of the tickets was implemented also during the pandemic, but I really like that you've kept that because you're right. You could have a night that is just an incredibly popular night that you go and there are tons and tons of people and you can't really enjoy it because you're packed in and whatnot. So having the tickets and having a limit really does make it a better experience for everybody.
Yeah, and if you wanted to catch the opening night, which is always a great one because that one, Barry Lee comes and he does the emceeing for the lighting of the Christmas tree. And we've got pyrotechnics that get off thanks to Snap and Share. They did that last year with some cool sparks that went up around the tree, which is really cool looking. For that, we always donate half of the opening night's ticket proceeds to Barry Lee's Chain of Checks. And last year we were able to hand him a check for over $4,000. So
Wow.
come out for that night, get your tickets ahead of time for that one because it will be very busy for that night, the day after Thanksgiving, and help us make a great donation to the Chain of Checks once again.
Doesn't Ryan Rutherford from the station from the River 95.3 come out and do a live broadcast at some point?
He'll be there on that night as well.
Ah, he of course is a Parks and Rec alum, so
He
that
is.
probably is extra special for him.
Yeah, he sets up in the lodge and puts on the live broadcast from there so you can stop in and say hi. And they're usually giving out some fun stuff as well, some giveaways. So stop and get your free swag.
I did not know he set up inside in the lodge. I'm going to have to ask him how he got such a cush place.
Yeah, it's nice and toasty in there. And he gets to hang out with the Snap and Share guys.
Where can people go if something that we have talked about today has sparked interest in somebody? Where is the best first place for them to go to get more details?
First place, easiest place, fcprd.net. That's where you can find all the information, links to either our running events or any of our other activities you can do.
And some things are time sensitive. So if they're thinking about running in the Thanksgiving Day 5K, for example, they should go and get their tickets or get registered for that sooner rather than later.
Correct. And also, if you're worried about missing out on signing up for any sports leagues or anything like that throughout the year, we've got an email newsletter that goes out called the Rec Reminder, and it goes out every Wednesday. And one feature in it is it shows your deadlines for signing up for things. So I know right now I just looked at the Rec Reminder, and there's a lot of yoga classes going on that their deadlines are like right now. So if you're thinking about, hey, do I need to get in for whether it's youth basketball or coming up in the spring for some softball or whatever, if you have that signed up ahead of time, you can always check and be like, my deadline's coming up. I need to get myself or my kids signed up before I miss out, because you don't want to be that parent.
The other thing that I love about your new registration process, we talked about that a year or so ago, is that it will also then let me add to my calendar, which I think is so fantastic, because it's one thing for me to write it down on a piece of paper and stick it on the fridge. It's something else for me to say, yes, put it on my calendar right now so that I remember and it is there.
Yeah, it's going to beep at you and tell you, hey, it's time.
You're supposed to be somewhere tomorrow.
Yeah, I need that as well.
Jeremy, thank you for taking the time today. I do appreciate the updates.
Thank you for having me. It's always fun to talk to you.
We are going to wrap up our conversation for today, but I do want to remind everyone there is a lot going on this weekend as you're listening. So Pancake Day is happening. We talked to Froggy's Closet and Carlton Rigo from Winchester Kiwanis Club. It is happening tomorrow, November 8th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the War Memorial Building in Jim Barnett Park. I mentioned a second ago, Cheesin' for a Reason is happening downtown, starts at 11 a.m. That is a benefit for Watts Winchester Area Temporary Transitional Shelter. And then Heritage Day is happening at the Burwell Morgan Mill over in Millwood from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We talked to Nathan about that a couple of weeks ago. So whatever you choose to do this weekend, get out and enjoy it. And I will meet you back here on Monday, just a few minutes after noon.